I'm Ray Bork, and this is the Celebrity Spotlight Series.
Move your shoulders a little bit.
It's no surprise to find Fall River, Massachusetts basketball legend Chris Herren on the basketball court. The surprise is that he's alive at all.
The police report said my skin was gray, my lips were blue, and I was non-responsive to Narcan, which reverses overdoses. So the EMTs on scene were content with pronouncing me dead. In the back of the ambulance, they kept working on me. In the back of the ambulance, I popped up. In the back of the ambulance, when I popped up, the police officer grabbed me by my throat. He shoved me back down and he said, "Homeboy, shut your mouth. You were just dead 30 seconds ago."
Herren with the alley-oop.
In the early 1990s, Chris Herren was a star basketball player at Fall River's Durfee High School.
And that brought the house down. Herren again. 2 more.
He was the best I ever saw live. He was a phenom. He was phenomenal. I've never seen anybody on a high school level or a college level as good as he was.
He was the personification of a high school superstar. He had it all. He had the look, he had the attitude, he had the ability.
Herren. Nice rebound.
A McDonald's All-American and ranked one of the top 10 high school players in the country, Chris was recruited by every major Division I college program.
You were 17 years old and you had Rick Pitino at your games and you had Billy Donovan at your games. And, you know, as a teacher, if the principal sat in your classroom every day for 4 years and evaluated your work, most teachers go home pretty stressed out or not looking forward to the next day. Kids get evaluated in the recruiting process like that. I was one of the kids that didn't really like that type of attention, you know, and I channeled it in the wrong way once I stepped off the court.
The wrong way meant drinking and marijuana use, but that didn't stop Chris from accepting a full scholarship to play basketball at Boston College.
I remember going up to talk to him at BC, and it was like early December. And I said, "Chris, when are your finals?" And he looks at me and goes, "I don't know." And right then, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it wasn't going to be good.
At BC, Chris was introduced to cocaine, failed 3 drug tests his first year, and was promptly kicked out.
One line of cocaine that, you know, I promised myself I would do it one time. You know, I remember that moment in that room looking at it and thinking to myself, you know, I'll give it one shot. You know, I'll try it once, I won't like it, I'll never do it again. And it took 14 years to walk away from that 1 line of cocaine. You know, one decision in a dorm room at Boston College.
But Chris's talent was too much for one college coach to dismiss. Fresno State's Jerry Tarkanian offered Chris a second chance. It appeared that Chris had found redemption as he thrived on the basketball court.
I'm just so happy right now that we won and happy to see my family and my friends.
Despite another failed drug test and a stint in rehab, Chris was able to finish his college career strong.
Here's Chris Herren back in the Commonwealth tonight. First shot, native is a 3.
But the old demons were still there.
You know, my whole life people were telling me I needed to get away from Fall River, so I went 3,000 miles away to Fresno. It had nothing to do with the geographical area. It had everything to do with me. I would have got high at MIT.
Now married with a new baby, Chris was drafted 33rd overall by the Denver Nuggets, and he had the opportunity of a lifetime.
And here comes Chris Herren again. Nuggets again, running. Mercer. Oh, what a play.
I was still untreated with the Denver Nuggets. I was in remission in a sense. You know, it's like I didn't do anything to stay away from the substances. I just put them aside for a while, you know, and I was around good guys who were looking out for my best interest. I should have been able to say, here I am, living my dream, and I'm going to do everything possible to stay with it.
But Chris couldn't stay with it. As soon as he came home to Fall River, he relapsed. this time on OxyContin. Before the start of his second season, Chris was traded to his hometown Boston Celtics. But what should have been the realization of a lifelong dream was only the dawning of a new nightmare. As Chris's OxyContin addiction grew, he lasted only one season with the Celtics. Undaunted, Chris moved overseas and played with teams in Iran, Turkey, China, Poland, Italy, where his long downward spiral accelerated.
I woke up sick in Bologna, Italy. I had practice in 2 hours. On my way to practice, crying. I said to myself, today you got two choices, Chris. It's either get help or get high. And I watched this little Italian man walk up to cars and serve them as they pulled up. I looked at that man, I said, I'm so sick right now. I need heroin. He reached in his pocket, he pulled out a spoon, pulled out a lighter, and started cooking heroin on my front seat. He reached in his pocket, he pulled out a syringe and sucked it up. At 24 years old, I've never been in the presence of a needle except the doctor's office. When I went, I turned and looked away. At 24 years old, I didn't know what heroin looked like. At 24 years old, that man said, if you're so sick, roll up your sleeve. At 24 years old, I rolled up my sleeve, I closed my eyes, I clenched my fist, I looked away, and I let the man shoot me up. At 24 years old, I became an intravenous drug addict.
Chris managed to play several seasons overseas before his drug use left him back home. Broke and hopelessly addicted, Chris's long descent into the heart of darkness finally hit rock bottom. This edition of the Celebrity Spotlight series is brought to you by the Herren Project, reaching one person, one family at a time, by Traditional Wood Floors, custom wood plank flooring made affordable, and by Whitmore Brothers Construction Company, building signature New England homes with quality, integrity, and a commitment to detail.